Hi, I'm Emma.
And I'm Cicely.
And today on our YouTube channel, we're going to be talking about The Cherry Orchard by Anton C. So, the play begins in, early morning of May in Russia. And the cherry trees are actually still blooming, even though it's, really cold outside, which is, not supposed to happen. So, Yermolay Lopakhin, a friend of the family, and then Dunyasha the maid, on the estate of the Raveneskis, this is in scene 1, so they're waiting for the estate's owner, Raveneski, at the estate's main house, in the nursery. And then Lopakhin reveals to Raveneski that he's been in Paris for the last 5 years, because they didn't know where he was. And Lopakhin said he's a businessman, and he's about, 30 years old, and, so he has, really mixed feelings towards Raveneski, because Raveneski's a really kind and humble person, but Lopakhin's actually really jealous of him. In a way, he's thankful for his kindness and stuff, but at the same time, he just has feelings of jealousy. And so also on the Raveneski estate is Simon, and they call him Simple Simon because he does a lot of really retarded stuff. He does stupid things, and he's a child, he's an adolescent, and his peers think he's funny and stuff, but his parents get after him a lot. And, so after Raveneski arrives from Paris, along with her daughter Anya, and Yasha, who's one of her young servants, and then she also brought with her Charlotte, Anya's governess, and she brought along her dog. So, and then she also brought along Porphyrs, which is her 87-year-old servant, and her elder, yet still infantile, and then her brother, Leonid Gayev, and her adopted daughter Vera. So the last three have stayed in Russia, but the rest went on to greet Raveneski for her return. So Raveneski is really excited and wants to express her joy and amazement to be home again, but Anya is actually she has kind of a different feeling about that, and she talks about it to Vera because when she found her mother when she arrived in Paris, the way that she continues to spend money, she used to be in poverty, but now she wants to blow money on these really unnecessary things, and she's become really materialistic person. And Anya talks about that and how she's really disappointed in that. And then later in the other scenes, Vera reveals that the family's estate is going to be sold at an auction on the 22nd of August, to be precise, in order to pay all the leftover debts that family has. So really, they don't have a lot of money. They're actually they're in debt. And Anya reveals that Raveneski's departure for Paris was caused over the griefs of her two deaths of her husband 6 years before, and of her son, who drowned in a month later. And so later that night, Anya goes to bed, and Lopakhin brings up the issue of an imminent sale. And then he comes up with a solution that Raveneski could basically take out land on her estate, and then she could build cottages for people to rent and stuff like that, and then that way she could make money off of that, even though it would cost her a little bit at first. She could eventually profit from that at the end. And then so after that, and Gayev and Raveneski, they kind of dismiss the idea. They think it's stupid and that it's just gonna be super expensive, and also it involved cutting down the family's giant cherry orchard, and that's what this little thing's about. And then before he leaves, Lopakhin offers them a loan of 50,000 rubles to buy their property in an auction if they change their minds and predict that there's no other way of saving the orchard. And so there's really only two solutions here, and eventually Raveneski has to pick one, and then he ends up lending money to a landowner who's named Boris. And then later on, Peter Trofimov arrived, and he was Grisha's tutor before the drowning, and then which was her son, and he brings back a lot of painful memories and stuff, and I don't know, it's pretty upsetting and stuff about it, because they just, I don't know, she really doesn't want to remember that, and then she has a hard time accepting the whole getting rid of the cherry orchard again, because that's brought up, and that reminds her of her son. And before the end of the act, so after complaining about his inability to curb his spending, he makes three alternatives to Lopakhin.
Yevgeny loves Dunyasha, Dunyasha loves Yasha, and Yasha is very much in love with himself. So soon, Lopakhin, as brought up in the first act, Lopakin, Renevesky, Gaev, Anya, and Varya appear, and they are debating over Lopakin's plan to turn the orchard into cottage country. Lopakin becomes frustrated with Renevesky's reluctance. She, in turn, thinks his plan is vulgar and says if they plan to sell the cherry orchard, she wants to be sold along with it. Renevesky reveals that she has a lover in Paris who's been sending her telegrams asking her to return and who robbed her, left her, and as a result drove her to a suicide attempt. Soon, Trofimov appears and gives several speeches about the importance of work and the laziness and stupidity of Russian intellectuals. In a quiet moment, the sound of a snapping string is heard. Stop. And no one can identify its source. A drunkard appears, asking for directions and then money. Renevesky ends up giving him several gold pieces. Disturbed, most of the group leaves except for Anya and Trofimov. They discuss Vanya's growing suspicion that Anya and Trofimov are having an affair, which they are not. Trofimov declares that they are above love. They're above love, you know. The act ends with Yefikudov sadly playing his guitar and Varya calling out in vain for Anya. So, now we're in the third act. Renevesky throws a party on the day of the auction of the cherry orchard. The guests consist of several local bureaucratic officials such as the station master and a post office clerk. Charlotte entertains the guests with a series of magic tricks. Renevesky worries anxiously about why Gaev and Lopakin have not yet returned. Renevesky fears that the orchard has been lost, that the aunt in Yaroslav... No, these words are hard. Has apparently not given them enough money to buy it, and that Gaev's other source have failed to come through. She and Trofimov get into an argument. Trofimov accuses her of not being able to face the truth, and she accuses him of being unusual for never have fallen in love. As he said again, like before, he was above love, so that's why she's saying that. Lopakin and Gaev soon return from the auction, and Lopakin reveals to everyone that he has bought the Lopakin reveals to everyone that he has bought the estate and intends to carry out his plans for the orchard's destruction. Anya tries in vain to comfort her mother after the orchard's destruction. So, in the last act, it is October now, and the trees in the cherry orchard are already being cut down. All of the characters... Sorry. All of the characters are in the process of leaving. Lopakin will depart the Kharkov for the winter, Varya to the Ragulins, another family that lives 50 miles away, or the Ragulins, or whatever. Gaev plans to live in the town working at a bank. Anya will go off to school, and Renevesky will leave for Paris with Yasha to rejoin her lover. Okay. Charlotte has no idea what she will do.
But we're both gonna read this one. But then Lopahopkin assures her that he will help her find like something eventually. And Trofimov and Lopahopkin exchange an affectionate like farewell with they say goodbye to each other, which is like actually kind of good because at first like they didn't really care for each other too much, and then like how they get closer together.
You know, and there was always rumors. Yasha leaves Dunyasha weeping with the second thought, and Anya tearfully says goodbye to her mother because they're all going their separate ways after the cherry orchard has been destructed.
Against all their wills, the tree has been turned to paper.
Anya worries that First, who has taken ill, has not been sent to the hospital as he was supposed to be, but Yasha indignantly assures Anya that he has. Renevesky encourages Lopakin to propose to Varya, but the proposal is never made. Lobogin leaves Varya alone, and in tears, finally, Gaev and Renoveski bid a tearful farewell to their house. Everyone leaves, locking the doors behind them. But First is, in fact, accidentally left behind, having fallen ill and being forgotten in the rush of the departure. He walks on stage after everyone else has left.
He mutters about how life has left him by. He lies on the couch, and then he silently expires or dies. As two sounds are heard, again the sound of a string snapping, and the sound of an axe cutting down a cherry tree down the orchard. This is the story of the plot summary and the crash course of The Cherry Orchard by Antoine C. Hawk.
Chekhov.
Russian names are hard to pronounce, but this is for Miss
This is our
Vescovi's
take on it.
4th period class, and
Yeah. We're famous.
Like us.
We're famous now.
Goodbye.
Subscribe.